Beings of the Galactic Science Council. We are here today to go over the latest survey findings and to confirm or deny provisional ratings on recently discovered planets. Professor Glifrenil spoke to the assembled delegates in the room. His green fur rippled in the currents of the air circulation system, and behind his back was a large window, overlooking a planet which was just transitioning into darkness. Light springing up, highlighting the edges of the ocean. Now, our first planet has been classified as a level 3 garden planet by the survey crews. The professor pushed a button on the table in front of him, with a large split appendage, the end of which could move in all directions. Average rainfall, temperature seems to be slightly lower than galactic average, gravity is a touch higher than average at 5.2 units, soil samples look good, few large predators. It allowed the assembled delegates a few moments to read the survey crew's findings and recommendations. Anyone disagree with the classification? It eventually asked. None of the assembled members raised any objects, and the professor spoke into the microphone at his side. Planet Sif List 1420B classified as a level 3 garden world, open to colonization to species that can handle the slightly higher than normal gravity. The professor pushed the button again, and a different planet sprang into view in the middle of the table. Our next planet was classified by the survey crews as a level 2 death world. Report notes extreme rainfall amounts leading to vast areas regularly flooding, steep, impassable mountain ranges, slightly higher than average temperature, galactic average gravity, and predators appear to be more aggressive than galactic average. Is there any disagreement? From halfway down the table, an appendage arose. This one was covered in bright purple scales and ended in a multitude of tentacles. Yes, Professor Zinchin, Professor Glifrenil asked. What is the nature of your disagreement? Professor Zinchin stood up and opened his mandibles, and a high-pitched variable sound came out. The translator he wore in his harness repeated in Galactic Standard. According to these survey reports, it appears that the planet may be subject to unpredictable earth tremors and high-speed winds. Therefore, I propose that the planet be classified as a level 3 death world. Professor Glifrenil said, Very well. Anyone disagree with Professor Zinchin? No one said anything, so the professor murmured once more into his microphone. Planet AX 199243D is classified as a level 3 death world, open to colonization for those species able to handle its environment. The professor pushed the button to bring up the next world, and a hologram of a blue jewel with white clouds appeared before the assembled group. Now, this world is a bit of an oddity, Professor Glifrenil said. According to the survey crew, it has a standard mean temperature of 286 degrees, average rainfall of 100 units, approximately 70% H2O, 30% landmass, extremely fertile soil that has the ability to sustain up to 2 crops in a growing season. An appendage rose quickly from the far end of the table, and a small creature with a long prehensile proboscis climbed onto the table. Why are we even debating this one? It is a Class 1 death world. Anyone can see that, he squeaked out. Professor Glifrenil looked down the table. Professor Shalmanar, he said. Normally you would be correct, but as I said when I first displayed this planet's image, this planet is an oddity. The survey crew did not assign it a probationary classification. Professor Shalmanar climbed back into his seat. Sorry, Professor Glifrenil, he said. It just looks obvious that it is a Class 1 garden world or paradise world, so why did the survey crew not mark it as such? Professor Glifrenil opened his datapad. Well, according to the survey crew, the planet has a gravity of 10 units, a high temperature of 330 units, and a low of 185 units, an axial tilt of 15 units, wind speeds that can get in excess of 300 units, multiple large apex predators in the sea, on land, and even in the skies, as well as plants and animals that can produce toxins able to kill the majority of creatures in the Council on contact. Another voice shouted out, Oh, come on. That would be classified as a level 10 death world. You must be joking. There is no way that any planet can exhibit both sides of the spectrum at once if it's no model of planetary formation. The professor looked at the being who had spoken. Normally you would be right, Professor Akshut, but 4 different survey teams have visited this planet and came up with the same results. The beings around the table pulled out their datapads and pulled up the information from the survey teams. Mutters of surprise and the occasional, "This cannot be right," were heard. So, my fellow peers, How should we classify this planet? Asked Professor Glyphernil. The speaker box on the wall, below the screen, showing what appeared to be a cross between a large jellyfish and a trilobite, crackled into life, swimming in a green-blue sea. According to the reports, this planet is home to sapient life, right? Professor Glyphernil answered, Yes, Professor Squee. It does appear that there is sapient life on the planet, which is itself unheard of as well. Well, it does not matter how we classify the planet then, does it? It is off limits to colonization, as are the stars for 150 lifespans around it. Therefore, we can leave the determination to future generations. The group of assembled beings looked thoughtful at this. Any disagreement? Asked Professor Glyphernil. When there was none, he leaned into his microphone and spoke once more. Planet AA1299852C, known as Sol-Free, aka Earth to its inhabitants, is to remain unclassified at this time due to emergence of sapient species on the planet. Future contact to be limited until species transitions to FTR spaceflight.